I would simply ask him why he would lie about committing a crime against me. Why would he go on national TV and lie about assaulting me, which is a crime, and admit that he did it? What'd you say? And admit that he did it if he said he did. And I know I'd look at him and smile and go, "You've never hit me in your life."
Well, it's incredibly...
You've never hit.
I mean, it's incredibly cowardly. You know, I've done a lot of interviews with you, Governor, and been on your TV show for 3 seasons now. And I've met your wife, great lady. I know she's been in the background before during interviews. I've never heard her jumping in. Sounds like Terry's pretty upset. What's your wife think of this?
No, of course she is. We've been married 36 years. She knows me better than any other person on the planet does. And like any couple, when one couple is hurt, the other feels the pain also. Anyone that's ever been in love and had a wife knows that. And so, sure, she's feeling my pain. She's feeling it with me, as she always has. But there's not a more loyal person in the world than her. And I know I always have her support 100%. And she has been out there with me. My wife has been to McPee's. She knows that nothing like that would ever happen, or she would know about it. She's friends with many of my SEAL team teammates. I challenge this, Alex. I challenge the SEAL community for anyone else who knows of this event to come forward, because no one will. And if they do, they're being untruthful, because it did not happen, unequivocally. This guy never hit me. I don't even know him. If he walked into the room right now, Alex, I wouldn't know who he was.
Well, when the truth comes out, he's going to be known as basically a Benedict Arnold. Next to the word defamation in the dictionary is going to be a picture of this guy, because I cannot imagine anything more dishonorable than to be part of a community, an elite community of people that serve their country, and then to concoct such a horrible lie, and then to try to bring so much pain to the Navy SEALs and their families that have lost or been wounded, and to try to blame it all on you. It is beyond sickening and disgusting and cowardly. And that's why when I heard this and saw this and registered the body language, I went and did research on this guy, and a chill went up my spine. The Richard Pearl, Dick Cheney connections. He's an Eric Prince Blackwater wannabe setting this thing up in Dallas. I thought, oh my God, they put him up to this, and I got nauseous by Friday when I knew this was going to be pure bull, Jesse, and I just cannot believe it. Well, look, they're scared of you. You ought to be proud they're doing this. They want to destroy you politically, even though you weren't intending to run. And I wrote an article yesterday about this with Paul Watson. I said this may have the opposite effect. All right, here is another 10 minutes of this interview, and we've got a whole nother segment of it with Governor Jesse Ventura breaking down the attempt to assassinate his character, to defame him because he exposes the New World Order, because he's a prominent person who won't lie down. It gets even more powerful right here. Here it is. You ought to be proud they're doing this. They want to destroy you politically, even though you weren't intending to run. And I wrote an article yesterday about this with Paul Watson. I said this may have the opposite effect. If they think this is going to run you off and make you go into the sunset, this may pull you out of the sunset, Jesse, because I know you've been veering towards going off into the sunset.
Well, only to surf, Alex, but again, on a serious note, for him to make allegations that I would take any joy in a United States military person dying in a war, I don't. And when you ask me what I would say to him if I saw him face to face, I would say, how dare you? I can be against a war, but I have never, ever been against the poor soldiers, sailors, and airmen that have to fight it, regardless of which war that is. And I've lived through a lot of them, Alex, because it's 30 years now of my life that my country has been at war. And I'm sick of war, and I'll say it to anybody. I despise war. War is the failure of politicians. Their ultimate failure is the ultimately why you have war. But I would never, ever say anything to hurt any soldier, sailor, or airman because they did their job. Is that strong enough, Alex?
It's strong, Governor. I just wonder what they're thinking, because Fox News and others have really opened themselves up, repeatedly stating this like it's a fact. They never say claim. They say, but again, knocking you out, that's to make you, defame you as a tough guy, as you're known to be. And then, but that's nothing in my view, as you've agreed. I mean, they've got to know that you're obviously going to come after them, and it's mind-blowing that before Fox went with this, before others did, that they didn't call McPease and find out that this was total bull.
Well, it is total bull because, Doc McPartland, like I said, I've known him. He was one of my instructors after I completed BUDS, and I went to what they call SBI, SEAL Basic Indoctrination. And I see the doc all the time when I'm down there. I always ask him how business is going. And if this event would have happened in his bar 5.5 years ago, or it's a bar eating establishment, both. If this would have happened, this would have been on the news 5.5 years ago. How does it suddenly rear its head 5.5 years later? Because it's not true. It did not happen. Nobody's ever hit me there. Nothing like that has happened. And, I'll be interested to see what witnesses can possibly come forward to this event, because you can't have a witness to an event that didn't happen.
That's right, and Fox and all the other channels always just take clips of interviews from my show without asking, but I'm here giving them permission if they want to try to begin to set things right. Not that that's possible, but, they're basically on notice. You better retract, and knowing them, they don't care. Look at News Corp with what they've been caught doing in England, spying, bribing, wiretapping people. They have the New York Post, do similar things before that they did have to retract on 9/11 truth groups. And they just don't care. They've got a mission because they know they're getting ready to start a new war, and they want to try to discredit you ahead of that. They hate the fact that you are a UDT Navy SEAL. They hate the fact that you're a popular movie star, wrestler, governor, mayor, best-selling author.
Alex, let me interject for a moment on McPease. McPease would never let me back in if I would have said those things. I can tell you that. Doc McPartland would never even let me set my foot in there if I would have stated what this guy said I said.
Well, they're trying to turn the whole SEAL community against you. I think this is just look, you called into my show first, and then you were on the local TV and newspapers the next day with Retractions when they said you were tailgating like a maniac in California getting to the airport, and I just talked to you the day before to get you on the radio show the next week when you were in Minnesota. I called your Minnesota. You haven't flown in 16 months because of the TSA groping you. It's all over the news. You're suing them. All of this is going on, and they have TMZ hooked up with Fox come out and say that you're this maniac, and then they remove the article but don't retract when your lawyer calls them, and now they do this again with this guy rolling out I think this guy's a useful idiot that the insiders contacted and talked into doing this. That's clearly what happened here, and he doesn't seem like he's that smart, and I think he's going to get in a lot of trouble.
Well, I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to do what I need to do to clear this matter up. I won't rest on just simply talking to you. I will, pursue other avenues, but it's difficult for me because of the timing. I'm way down here in Mexico right now, and, I don't have access to get on television and deny these charges unless I drive all the way back up. And, that's a 2-day drive that's very brutal. So the timing of this is also very remarkable, Alex, and it's amazing that, but I thank you because in fact, I have to ask you, Alex, help. You're my man right now. You're my media guy. You're the only guy I have access to talk to. So it's going to fall on your shoulders, my friend, to clear my name here immediately.
Well, we all know what happened. You bet. I'm the one, it was my crew showed it to me a few hours after it happened. That was on Wednesday, and I said, this is going to, no, that was Thursday. I said, this is going to get really, really big. And by Friday, it was all over the TV stations. And I just kept, telling Ty, who was trying you every 5 minutes, try to get your dad to, obviously this isn't true, but we got to get a response. And now I'm sure they think it's real funny what they've done. And I know, you've been working really hard. You deserve a vacation, but I'm afraid you're going to probably have to get back in the RV and drive up to California. But here's the problem. In the last 5 years, when you went on CNN, Fox, you cleaned their clocks. So now they don't have you on as often. And I think they're probably going to try to close the doors on you so they can just get away with all this. But they're not going to be able to ignore, obviously, what comes out of it later. But that's just what Rupert Murdoch does. But I think you're right. Your initial point that this is News Corps doing this. This is their specialty. And so you ought to, it's the mark of the fact that you're a patriot and that you'll talk about 9/11 being having evidence of inside job. You'll talk about Kennedy being assassinated by the government or elements of it. You'll talk about the wars being frauds. You'll talk about all this. So they need to try to destroy you ahead of this big police state. You've been criticizing their NDAA, their TSA, the checkpoints on the highways. Look, they're putting out fake ads saying that Ron Paul put them out being racist towards Asians, and then it turned out it was tracked back to Huntsman's people. But the media now won't retract it. Listen, they've got people dressed up as racist hayseeds claiming that they support Rand Paul and Ron Paul and getting caught. Governor, I think you're going to see more dirty tricks. Because you're over the target.
Well, maybe so, Alex. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm going to be who I am. I'm going to continue to speak out on everything because I believe in our Constitution. I believe in our Bill of Rights. And I believe that they're right in the crosshairs right now if the country doesn't rise up and protect citizens and our Constitution and Bill of Rights, that we're going to lose our country, because I truly believe that, because everything that I'm learning and the more I get into it and see what's going on, the more we have to be that much more vigilant. And as I said, I got to count on you now, Alex, because right now my hands are tied down here. I don't have the ability to although if it could be set up that I could do television somewhere, I would be happy to go, on satellite and go on any one of these shows. So if you're in contact with Fox, who appears to be out to destroy me, tell them I'll be available anytime I possibly can, but because of the remoteness of where I live, it's difficult.
Yeah, you may have to drive into some major Mexican city, too, and probably do an uplink there. I just can't believe I guess they've already destroyed their credibility so many times. They don't care about doing this again and again. And again, this is an issue. We're going to come back and finish up the rest of it, but you've heard it, mainstream corporate whore media that reports about WMDs in Iraq and Easter bunnies in your closet. You want to have Ventura actually talk about this, that Fox has made this big story?